About the neo-Nazis at the Turning Point event. They were outside protesters. My point was more metaphorical, that you embraced them at your thing.
First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down. You're asking me questions. You're talking about...
Sirens went off at exactly 1:30 p.m. local time as the annual One-On Air Raid drills kick off in Taipei.
We've got a rock and roll in one today. I've never been at the forefront, or at least in the middle, of a worldwide trending topic. Apparently, The View didn't back down, and now Turning Point is suing them. Maybe, allegedly, we'll see. Dr. Fauci says that he never recommended lockdowns, and holy cow, this is a crazy day. We might, maybe, possibly come to the defense of Nancy Pelosi. That's a weird thing to say. Anyways, all that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right about now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. On today, it is July 27th, the year of our Lord 2022. We've got a raucous one today. Got a great guest coming up in like just a few seconds to talk about the bonanza that happened. We talked about it yesterday, the TPUSA event in Florida, in which neo-Nazis protested, and then Whoopi Goldberg on The View said, no, you guys let them in to your event, and you are Nazis. Then she retracted it kind of, but didn't really, and now there is a total storm going on between TPUSA and The View. So without further ado, I want to bring in a guest. We don't usually have guests here, but I thought that this was appropriate. Fellow TPUSA contributor Jack Posobiec joins us live. Jack, how you doing?
What's going on, Jobob? How are you? I'm currently ensconced in my own bunker, though fortunately I'm not fully sensorily deprived from the outside world. I am still have some connection both to my coffee and my pillows.
It is by choice, by the way, Jack. We do this by choice. I don't like talking to people. I don't want to be out in the real world.
Precisely.
So, Jack, we laid this whole thing out yesterday, how Whoopi Goldberg said, well, the TPUSA event welcomed them into their facility. Then after the commercial break, she said, well, not welcomed, I mean metaphorically. Then it turned into a huge story, ended up getting trending on Twitter, mostly in part to your retweets and your own action. Can you kind of give us an outline of where you think this goes next? Is there a lawsuit?
So you may not have heard this because just in the minutes while you were
no way
starting the story just now, starting the show, that we do have a breaking update on this, because apparently just minutes ago they did address this on today's episode of The View. They released a new statement, and it's Sarah Haynes released the statement. So here we go, and I've got the statement right here. By the way, for the record, I was out there at the event, so I'm running in between my hotel room, had to get changed, get TV ready, even though I do wake up looking like this, and then head over to, but I had to get my tie on, that kind of stuff. So I'm heading over to a media hit, heading to Media Row, and I see this altercation, these agitators going on down the steps outside the entrance. And we just had Antifa like an hour earlier that was there and then had left. And initially I thought maybe it was Antifa had come back. Mm-hmm. And I see these flags. Then, I kind of start scrutinizing a little more. I say, oh no, that's not Antifa. That's something completely and wholly different. And so we do hashtag Sue the View. We put that trending nationwide. It was number 2 before, of course, they suppressed it. And then they tried to say it was just The View was trending, even though, no.
Yeah.
We had hashtag Sue the View. So they hit it. It's what they do now. They group hashtags. If something is too conservative or too true, right, they'll hide that on Twitter trending. So they put it underneath. And meanwhile, I know that this is false because I'm actually there. I'm actually the one. And this is the big thing. And for anybody listening to this, you got to understand this. I said this is Human Events Daily as well. Don't just see something, say something anymore. Nowadays, especially if you find yourself on the right, see something, film something. Mm-hmm. You have to get footage. No one will believe you. The media will lie to you. The media lied about me when I said that I was being detained by World Economic Forum police, and I've got video of the police with the badges on their arms that says World Economic Forum police, and they said the fact check comes out by Reuters. Well, technically, those were just police assigned to the World Economic Forum police, not actually World Economic. That's completely. I was, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, this is all coming out while I'm, being held at gunpoint by these guys. In Davos on the side of a mountain in the Alps. But okay, no problem. So anyway, I've still gotten the point, though, of understanding that if I do not have something on film, right, they will use any evidence they can to push it against you. So I go down, I film. And what did I see? The Turning Point students confronting and essentially arguing, counter-protesting, saying, get out of here. We're not part of that. We don't want anything to do with that. I've got it on film. Got the whole thing on footage. Didn't go in and get involved myself. I said, look, I want to make this just a pristine situation so anybody who has questions about it later, they can see the footage. There's no interaction, the whole Jane Goodall thing, like, oh, totally. You can't interact while you're, observing what's going on. Jane Goodall, famous for, believing in depopulation and all that. But the statement on The View, Sarah Haynes, Here we go. This is a rough transcript. On Monday, we talked openly about the fact that there were neo-Nazi demonstrators outside the Student Action Summit of the Turning Point USA group. We want to make clear that these demonstrators were gathered outside the event and they were not invited or endorsed by Turning Point USA. So this is the lawyers after reading the cease and desist from Charlie Kirk at Turning Point. A Turning Point USA spokesman said the group 100% condemns those ideologies and said Turning Point USA security tried to remove them from the area but could not because they were on public property. This is true. They were on the street, not the steps like Antifa were earlier. Also, Turning Point USA wanted to clarify and wanted us to clarify that there was a Turning Point USA summit and not a Republican Party event. So we apologize for anything we said that may have been unclear on these points. Yeah, I'm not hearing an apology, and it also wasn't Whoopi that said it. So I'm going to just go out and say, not good enough. Not good enough. It needs to be Whoopi, and I need to hear two words. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for lying.
So Jack, this whole thing, obviously everybody's been paying attention to it, has been aware and knows how ridiculous it is. What do you think, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, what do you think they're also lying about routinely and knowingly each and every day on that stupid show?
Well, I know they talk about January 6th a lot on the show. And they kind of do these recaps because I don't know how, and I'm sure, Jobob, that you, of course, watch every single episode.
Every single day. I watch every single day.
Yeah, and you take notes and you follow. You're on the fan pages afterwards doing the recaps. You're doing the after show blog. They're running that thing like it's a true crime show. And then The View is like a show where they talk about, oh, did you see this episode last night? It was amazing. Oh my gosh. But if you actually watch the hearings, and I've done this because this is what I have to do for work when I do human events, that I look at this and I'm saying, but wait a minute, hold on, right? Because of course there's no cross-examination here. All of the evidence they're presenting actually kind of debunks the fact that there was any plan whatsoever. I mean, Don, if there was a plan, right, wouldn't Don Jr. be in on it? Maybe Eric, you'd have Pence kind of going back and forth, but there's no plan. And so what you found evidence of is in fact evidence that there was no plan and it was just a situation that got out of control, that obviously it was meant for it to be all of this, and yet they still somehow twist it. So they debunk the first section of it, then they debunk, then they have a new element. They say, well, he should have condemned the violence. Okay, well, he did condemn the violence. Okay, but then he should have done it sooner. And it's like, well, okay, but like, that's not a crime, number one. And number two, you could say that about pretty much, I don't know, anything. Like, oh, well, why didn't you do that good thing sooner? Like, well, yeah, I mean, you literally could say, why didn't we invent the wheel sooner? Like, what do because it happened when it happened, right? If that's the standard, by the way, if that's the standard we're going to use, then let's apply that to everything from now on. So what's amazing to me is that they've taken this thing and on the left turned it into this. I mean, they are so into this, dude. They're treating this like it's the greatest TV of their entire lives. They've actually gaslit themselves into believing this. What's the new thing? 147 minutes. It took them 147 minutes. And it's like, President Bush didn't condemn the 9/11 attacks until a speech later that day. That doesn't mean he supported the 9/11 attacks, right? That's not evidence of anything. But they actually believe that they are watching a true crime show. And when they hear that the Department of Justice, and we go back, and to make it serious for a second, we go back and you look at some of these societies like the Stasi in East Germany, or the Bezpieka in communist Poland, or the Cheka, the NKVD, KGB, everything the Soviet Union had. And you ask, how could people go along with this stuff? How could people just allow them to make up crimes out of nowhere? And then you see in the Washington Post yesterday, well, the Department of Justice has opened a criminal investigation into Trump. And you say, well, there you go. It's an investigation in search of a crime.
Interesting. And then they talk about it openly on The View. To circle back to The View really quick, do you think that that's going to suffice with the righty Twitter mob and the Turning Point USA people? Do you think Turning Point's going to let it go after that subpar apology?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't reveal any of my communications with some of the Turning Point high command, but I have to imagine that this isn't, it doesn't seem like it does enough work. It's not an apology. It's certainly not a retraction, and it's this weird, we just wanted to clarify and a few things, but it still, and it's also not from Whoopi herself. Right.
Interesting.
We need to see Whoopi Goldberg going up there, doing the work. Come on, Sister Act. Sister Act 1, Sister Act 2. We've all been there. Go and do the right. Those movies were all about doing the right thing. That was the whole point of those movies. So Whoopi, it's time for you. You don't even have to put on your habit. You don't have to go back to the nunnery. You don't even have to sing. You could sing if you wanted to. But we want the apology from Whoopi Goldberg.
Awesome, Jack. Well, hey, thanks so much for spending a couple minutes with us today. We'll all see how this unfolds together, and if you're leading the charge on saying that that's not a good enough apology, I'll be right there with you, dude.
Not good enough for me, I'll tell you that right now.
All right, Jack Posobiec, thanks so much for joining Daily Caller Live. Really appreciate it.
Take care, man. Great show. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Wow, so that was awesome. Jack laying into a lot of different topics, especially the craziness going on out of the View. Now, for those of you who aren't super familiar with it, hopped on pretty quickly. I wanted to play this, the whole thing in its entirety of where it went when she got into commercial break. She said, hey, they accepted them into their world and loved the Nazis. And then it went to commercial break. Then they clarified. We didn't play the clarification yesterday, so I wanted to play it today. But right now, go ahead and watch this clip from Monday's show that got her into a whole bunch of hot water that needed to necessitate that kind of apology that happened afterward. Also, if you haven't already, click the little like button, the little share button down here. Really, really helps us out. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Really, really appreciate you doing that. It helps us out substantially. Check this out. Whoopi Goldberg on The View.
Okay, so you have to read this thing.
Oh, I've got a legal note. The conservative group.
Sonny normally does this, but
I know.
Yes.
This is our knockoff lawyer. The conservative group, Turning Point USA, has condemned the group of neo-Nazis and said they have nothing to do with the organization.
Yeah, but where was DeSantis is what I want to know.
But you let them in.
President, open your
You let them in and you knew what they were.
Right.
So you are complicit. We'll be right back.
All right. Okay. So, we're doing some real-time live editing stuff here. I just got sent, Jack was just talking about that quote-unquote apology. I just got that sent right now. Let me play this clip from after the commercial break where Whoopi tries to apologize for it. And in the meantime, we'll get this video up here and we'll do it live. Watch this not good apology from Whoopi before we play the really not good apology that just got sent to me. Check this out.
Make a quick clarification about the neo-Nazis at the Turning Point event. They were outside protesters. My point was more metaphorical. That you embraced them at your thing, I felt. So they were not in the building.
No, but you know what?
Okay.
You know what? If the so-called Antifa, who are anti-fascist, that's what Antifa stands for, would go there and protest, then Antifa would get a bad reputation. That's why when I hear that Antifa is
right, but that's not. But let me just make sure that everybody, because misunderstanding what people say is very big.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So we want to make sure I know they were not in the building, but they were in the mix of people at the thing.
You know how bad.
Okay, so that's not true at all. I tweeted that yesterday. I think Jack retweeted it, actually, which has got a ton of buzz. That, no, they weren't in the building and not in the mix of people. There were like 7 of them. They got confronted by TPUSA students who were outside and then dispersed after not making any headway whatsoever. We did not let them in. Turning Point did not let them in, and all of that. We're doing some editing on the fly here. I hope this video works. Here we go. Yeah, we're gonna try it. So this is what just happened minutes ago on The View that Jack was just talking about, reading his rough transcript. Here's the actual footage. Man, this is impressive. I'm excited that we're able to do this. Shout out Evan and the contributor team and whoever's sending me this stuff over at TPUSA right now. Check this out. Here we go. Here's the new half-hearted apology, not from Whoopi Goldberg. Check it out.
So on Monday, we talked about the fact that there were openly neo-Nazi demonstrators outside the Florida Student Action Summit of the Turning Point USA group. We want to make clear that these demonstrators were gathered outside the event and that they were not invited or endorsed by Turning Point USA. A Turning Point USA spokesman said the group, quote, 100% condemns those ideologies, and said Turning Point USA security tried to remove the neo-Nazis from the area but could not because they were on public property. Also, Turning Point USA wanted us to clarify that this was a Turning Point USA summit and not a Republican Party event. So we apologize for anything we said that may have been unclear on these points.
They still invited Matt Gaetz, though, I would just like to know.
Okay. So that's it. That's what they said. They clarified. Whoopi didn't. Whoopi's the one who's getting them into all of the trouble, saying that no. Metaphorically, you let them all in and all of that hubbub. But that's that. Let me see if there's any. Let me see if there's any. Oh, well, somebody said show the video on your show. Be transparent. Are we talking about the actual Nazi protesters? Because I do have that. Sylvie says, please show the video. I'm not sure which video you're talking about, but here's a small clip of a video that, again, Turning Point had and was putting out, showing the neo-Nazis and the students confronting those neo-Nazis outside the event. Watch this. As you can see, there's like 7 or 8 people holding just disgusting flags. I don't know if that was actually Jack's footage, but he did say that he caught a bunch of it. So yeah, if that was the footage you were looking for, that was it. So trending on Twitter was Sue the View. If you're not aware of all of that, let me see. Anything else going on here? Start soon. Yeah. So Sue the View is trending on Twitter. It got huge pushback, and that's what I think prompted the View to say, "Hey, just FYI, we did not mean to say any of that." But it wasn't, according to Jack, a very good apology. All right, I'm going to move on. Because we've spent 20 minutes on this. Really appreciate Jack coming on and talking about that. Jack Posobiec. If you don't follow him already, he's got like 2 million Twitter followers. He's a big deal. So appreciate him coming on. But also, we need to get to some other stuff. I should have, maybe not, because I feel like he would have gone off on this. Nancy versus China. So for those of you who dislike Nancy Pelosi incessantly, I stand with you. I agree with you, and I think she's a bad person. But Nancy Pelosi is kind of in the middle of this weird debate between her office and the president's office, whether or not she should go to Taipei, Taiwan. And the president's office is saying, no, she's not going. She's kind of saying, maybe we're not going to go anymore. But she announced a couple weeks ago that she's going to be going to Taiwan. And the White House is walking that back. Now, just so we're clear on what's happening in Taiwan. Taiwan, small island country. China claims that they own Taiwan. Taiwan says it's an independent country. They have their own military. They have their own government. Taiwan is set to be, I wouldn't say that. China has its eye on Taiwan to invade the small island nation in the near future, unfortunately. Nancy Pelosi said she was going to go to Taiwan. China, on the other hand, with that news, said that we are not going. Let me see if I can find the quote. I'm a little bit flustered here. There's a lot going on today. Sources familiar with the speaker's planning to visit in the coming weeks as a part of a broader trip to Asia. The possible trip is highlighting concerns with President Joe Biden's administration over China's designs on Taiwan, as Beijing has stepped up its rhetoric and aggressive action towards the island in recent months, including sending warships to Taiwan's self-declared air defense. Essentially, China has said if Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, goes to Taiwan, an independent island nation, they're going to react forcefully and unequivocally. I think those are the words they used, but I can't find the exact quote here in this article, which makes me bad at my job. But Nancy Pelosi supposedly is going to Taiwan. Now, here's a video clip of what is happening in Taiwan given the threat from mainland China. Check this out. This is gnarly.
Sirens went off at exactly 1:30 p.m. local time as the annual Wan'an air raid drills kick off in Taipei. Road traffic and pedestrian movement are immediately suspended for the next 30 minutes. For the first time, civilians, from pedestrians to people on the road, are required to get out from their vehicles and seek air raid shelters close by or face up to $5,000 in fines.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So all that video is to show that Taiwan and Taipei specifically takes the threat of China very, very seriously. Now, the United States has a lot of vested interests in Taiwan staying a free and independent nation. One, just because it looks bad for other big countries to take over small countries, and we don't want to, in today's day and age, we don't want that to be the norm. We don't like Russia invading Ukraine. We don't want China invading Taiwan. But also from a strategic standpoint, Taiwan, interestingly enough, manufactures, I think, 65 to 75% of microchips, semiconductors that work literally everything. The camera right now, the computer, your car, your cell phone, your toaster, probably even. Everything has semiconductors in the modern world, and Taiwan manufactures the overwhelming majority of them. China, on the other hand, I believe, I'm going from memory here off a report we did like 6 months ago. China, on the other hand, probably like a year ago. Wow. China, on the other hand, manufactures like 6 to 8% of semiconductors. And if they were to take Taiwan, the entire technological world would be at the pleasure of the Chinese Communist Party. So we don't want that to happen. Aside from the freedom thing should be the only thing that we need to base this off of. But also, if China were to get a major foothold in the technological space, that would be bad. Back to Nancy. Nancy said that she was going to go to Taiwan. The Chinese government said, no, you don't. And the Biden administration looks like they're backing down from it. The possible trip highlights concerns over, I already just read that. Meanwhile, President Xi, whom Biden is expected to speak with this week, is believed to be laying the groundwork for an unprecedented third term as president in the fall, contributing to this tense geopolitics in this region. Essentially, the Chinese government says if Nancy goes, we're going to act unequivocally. Now, apparently, this is all kind of happening sporadically and without really any sort of, nobody knows what's going on, essentially. Nancy's office is negotiating with the White House on whether or not she should go. The White House is saying, hey, don't go. The Pelosi's office apparently is saying go. Bottom lining here, let me just bottom line this because I feel like I've rambled on this one. This one wasn't the best prepared, I guess. Nancy Pelosi going to Taiwan, I'm for it, I think. Maybe there's information that I don't know. Maybe there are back channel negotiations that she doesn't want to, that she shouldn't interrupt. But if Nancy Pelosi goes to Taiwan and pounds it in China's face saying, you don't get to tell the United States what to do, I am in support of Nancy Pelosi. I know that is a crazy thing to say, but in this particular situation, I don't like the optics of the United States backing down to Chinese threats. If Nancy Pelosi wants to go to wants to go to Taiwan, and China says, no, you can't, my instinctual reaction as an American is, pound sand, China, we're going to come anyway. And if that means supporting Nancy Pelosi's desires to go to Taiwan, so be it. This doesn't mean I agree with her on any policy whatsoever, but apparently, when it comes to telling China to pound sand, yeah, I'm for Nancy Pelosi going to the island nation of Taiwan. That's it with that. There was a lot of stuff happening this morning that was I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'll be upfront with you. I'm a little flustered. But here we go. This is our last thing we're going to talk about today. Dr. Fauci said on a podcast, I believe it was The Hills, one of The Hills podcasts, The Hill TV. I can't remember the name of the show specifically, but Dr. Fauci said, I never recommended lockdowns. That wasn't me. I didn't do that. Of course, that is a hilarious thing for him to say. But I want to play this video clip of Dr. Fauci trying to justify, or at least trying to get around the idea of schools and shutdowns and lockdowns, and which he did not call for. He says he did not call for. Watch this clip and we'll discuss on the other side. Also, if you haven't already, click the little like button, the little share button, the comment button. What do you think about what's going on in the world today? Would appreciate the input. So without further ado, here's Dr. Fauci.
I so appreciate what you're saying, Doctor, about the moving target. At the same time, there were authorities that made different decisions than the CDC's recommendations, for example, on school closures, and they did not see higher levels of child mortality when it comes to COVID. And meanwhile, the schools that did close down were now seeing just disastrous levels of learning loss among poor children, children of color, mental health crisis. I wonder if you would recommend locking down schools if you had to do it all over again.
Well, again, it's first of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down. You're asking me questions. You're talking about the CDC is the public health agency that uses their epidemiologists and their science-based approach to make recommendations. Clearly, whenever you close schools, there are collateral effects that are negative. I have always been well aware of that. And I have always felt, and you go back and look at my statements, that we need to do everything we can to keep the schools open and safe. And by safe means, if you need to wear masks in that, wear masks. Get better ventilation. Surround the children with people who are vaccinated if a vaccine is available to help protect the children. Again, I have been on the record of saying that always try to the best of your ability to keep the children in school, but in a safe environment.
So Dr. Fauci says, I never recommended lockdowns. I recommended a bunch of other things before lockdowns. Now, there is some truth to what he's saying. He's like, hey, let's try everything else first. But the problem is Dr. Fauci wants to literally try everything else. And if that doesn't work, then we have to resort to lockdowns. Here's a clip of Dr. Fauci in October of 2020 saying pretty much the exact opposite of what he said just there.
It was a decision to make a recommendation to the president. It wasn't my decision that I could implement. And when it became clear that when we had community spread in the country, with a few cases of community spread, this was way before there was a major explosion like we saw in the Northeastern corridor driven by New York City metropolitan area, I recommended to the president that we shut the country down.
So if that isn't a recommendation for a lockdown, I'm not entirely sure what is. Lastly, this is a clip on CNN, I believe. There's a bunch more out there, but again, we're kind of pressed for time here when we're doing this sort of thing, and we're going on the fly. We're doing it live. So check this clip out, last one.
Well, I would like to see a dramatic diminution of the personal interaction that we see in restaurants and in bars. Whatever it takes to do that, that's what I'd like to see.
which turned out to be lockdowns. Dramatic diminution. I don't think I've ever heard that term or that phrase before. So, yeah, Dr. Fauci, I don't know why he's still employed. Let me know in the comment section. Why do you think Dr. Fauci is still employed? He said he's going to retire next year, or at least after Joe Biden's term, but who knows if that will come to fruition. We did a lot today. We talked a lot about this Sue the View thing. We'll see if it happens. As we're talking about this, I'll give you a peek behind the curtain here. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of some bigger name people, a lot of Turning Point USA contributors, Jack included. Something fun, something fun. They're getting ready. We're getting ready to have some fun with this whole View nonsense. And Whoopi seems to have brought it upon herself. Hey, don't call kids Nazis, and you won't have these sorts of issues. Whether it be lawsuits or whatever it is that it's coming down the pipe. That's going to do it for us today, though. I appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. I want to start seeing if I should I start like announcing where I'm going to be at different media outlets. Like today, I'm on Ari Hoffman's show in the Seattle area. If you're from the Pacific Northwest, we'll be calling into Ari's show. Well, I know when I'm calling in. I think it's pre-taped, so I'm not sure when it actually airs. But just in case you're up in the PNW, you can check it out. I got a lot of friends up there in that area, so rock and roll. If you haven't given me a follow on any of your social media accounts, just type in JOBOB. Pretty much anywhere you'll be able to find me. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. Also, here's the standard joke. Still haven't changed this Chiron. One day we will do that, but that day is not today. We'll see you here tomorrow, same time, different place. I believe we're broadcasting from Phoenix tomorrow in Charlie Kirk's old studio, interestingly enough. They let me use that to bring it to you live. Anything else comes up with this View stuff, I will be happy to talk about it because I feel like that's a fun, maybe not the best term, an interesting, to say the least, topic to go after. But yeah, we'll be live from Phoenix tomorrow. Same time, different place, same YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. Until then, we will see you. God bless America.